Morning. Am I audible to you guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Before starting the class, I want to tell you your sessional exam will start from 5th of May. Okay. So timetable will be shared soon once we get the approval from exam controller and
Ma'am, ডেটটো কি
VCSE.
ক'লে মেম? ডেটটো কি ক'লে?
5th May পৰা first sessional start হ'ব. বুজিছা? So MCQ based questions হ'ব আৰু Google ফৰ্মত হ'ব. Ma'am, please share the notes to study. I did, I guess, for the first unit.
মেম MCQ ন মেম MCQ.
MCQ. MCQ হ'ব আৰু Google ফৰ্মত হ'ব. Notes I already provided you for first unit. Then for second unit, I'll provide it by in 1 or 2 days, okay? Up to loop. Okay, the syllabus for PPS will be up to loop, okay, from unit 1 to the loop sections. Means your basic computer parts, then a switch case, then control statement like break, continue, then if else statement, and loop, while do, while and for loop, and everything will be just MCQ. And for all other subjects also, everything will be just MCQ Google form.
Can you share any example questions?
Hmm?
Can you share the examples questions?
Example question, there is nothing like example question. First sessional exam will be like your example question, then you will get to know how your
No,
like
I'm just asking if you can give us some clue about the exam, like some question.
like whatever I taught you in class, just check those one, okay?
Ma'am, will programs and all those algorithms for chat be included?
No, say if I am saying that it will be MCQ based questions, so obviously there will be lots of limitations. I cannot ask you to write a program, and I cannot ask you to draw something. So you can imagine maybe it will be like basic questions.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. মেম আমাৰ PPSৰ মেম হেৰি এক্সামটো মেম কুৱেশ্যনবোৰ মেম কি মেম কোডিংটো কৰা থাকিব নেকি মেম প্ৰগ্ৰামটো লিখা থাকিব তো দেন তেনেকে এনসাৰটো লিখি দিব লাগিব নেকি মেম কোডিংটো কৰিব লাগিব নেকি মেম
Possible, সেইটো depend কৰিব. Maybe there will be already a program given to you. Maybe you have to find a correct answer or something like that, or maybe you have to find a correct output for
মেম
that
মানে
program.
এনসাৰটো দিয়া মানে মেম মানে দিয়া থাকিব ন আউটপুটটো মেম আউটপুটটো দিয়া থাকিব ন আউটপুটটো
মানে suppose program এটা দিয়া আছে আৰু তোমাৰ আউটপুটটো 4টা দিয়া আছে, তো তুমি correct answer select কৰিব লাগিব পাৰে, নাইবা basic questions থাকিব পাৰে,
ওকে মেম ওকে ঠিক আছে
বুজিছা?
ইয়েস মেম ইয়েস
Basic
বুজিছো
questions like parts of CPU, কোনটো কি কাম কৰে, যিখিনি বেছিক যিখিনি ক্লাছত কৰাইছো সেয়াই দিম, বেলেগ নিদিম।
ওকে মেম ওকে ঠিক আছে
নিজৰ দিমাগ অলপ খটাব লাগিব। বা program দিলেও it will be just like that. Program to থাকিব, there will be lots of options for output, then you just need to find a correct output. Okay? আৰু বাকিবোৰতো তেনেকুৱাই হ'ব, বাকিবোৰ সাবজেক্টতো। First sessional exam actually timing was like 21st April চলি আছে ন? 21st April to 28 April আছিলে, but since তোমালোকৰ ইমান দিনে practical হৈ আছিলে আৰু theory just started from 19, and moreover compartmental exam is going on for even semester, that's why we decided to postpone the exam for a while. খালি এতিয়ালৈ timetable হৈ গৈছে, but we need the approval first. So once we get the approval, then we will share with you guys. So tentative date is from 5th onwards. 3 days. 5, 6, 7 তোমালোকৰ maybe 4টা subject will be just 4. When we will get first sem result? Okay, that I cannot tell you because it's depending on your exam department. So since we don't control the exam department and it is more like exam department control us, so sorry, I won't be able to tell you that answer. But they are working on it. One time as a result. They are working on it. Actually, the whole exam department is kind of new. We had different members in exam department. Then in I guess just last December, they appointed lots of different people for exam cell. So it's more like 4 or 5 exam controllers, but yeah, they are still new and trying to get a lot, and there are lots of students here. So yeah, maybe that's why a bit delay, because I know the time was like March 6th, then after that they made it like 9th of March, then now it's end of April. We are also asking the same questions. So yeah. Okay, I just start it now. Remember, kiman tarikh lo? It'll be 3 days, 5th, 6th, 7th. If you guys have less number of subjects, 5 now, it will be just over in 3 days, 5th, 6th, 7th. And are you guys having problem with any other classes? বেলেগ ক্লাছত কিবা problem? সব ঠিকেই চলি আছে ক্লাছবোৰ?
মেথছ ক্লাছ হোৱাই নাই।
মেথছ ক্লাছ আকৌ বুজি পোৱা নাই ভালকে। নেটৱৰ্কৰ প্ৰব্লেম, ছাৰৰ বহুত কিবা মানে গমেই নাপাওঁ কি।
সুজন sir, no?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
Okay, you have to deal with Sujan
Ma'am,
for a bit.
programming class হোৱাই নাই এটা।
Programming কি ক্লাছ হোৱা নাই? মই কৰি আছো দেখোন। কি programming
আৰু এটা
ক্লাছ?
আছে যে programming
আৰু কি programming আছে?
মেম এই ৱেব ডেভেলপমেণ্ট কিবা এটা আছে ন মেম, কিবা এটা চাবজেক্ট আছে, এপ ডেভেলপ কিবা এটা আছে ন?
এইটো AWS হয়।
AWS হয়। AWS ৰ ইটস self study वाला subject হয়। তুমি নিজে কৰিব লাগিব এইটো। এইটোৰ exam এতিয়া বেলেগকে নহয় আৰু। Sessional নাথাকে, ডাইৰেক্ট ফাইনেল এক্সাম থাকিব। সেইটো self study. Language lab, okay.
Yes, ma'am, language lab.
আচ্ছা, লেংগুৱেজ লেব একচুৱেলি লেবৰ এক্সাম নহয়, অকল থিয়ৰী এক্সামহে হয়। ছেশ্যনেলৰ কোনো লেব এক্সাম নাথাকে, ছেশ্যনেল অকল থিয়ৰী এক্সাম থাকে। হ'ব, লেব এক্সাম অকল ফাইনেল টাইমতে থাকে। বাট লেংগুৱেজ লেব হোৱা নাই বুলি কৈছা ন?
Yes,
এটাও
ma'am,
হোৱা নাই?
language lab টো
যেতিয়া
হোৱা নাই।
অন আছিলে, যেতিয়া কলেজ খোলা আছিলে, তেতিয়া এটাও হোৱা নাই?
নাই মেম, নাই হোৱা নাই।
আচ্ছা, okay, I'll inform HOD sir. Actually, Dipali ma'am supposed to take the language lab. মই exactly sure নহয় language labত লয় কি, but I'll inform sir, okay? আৰু বাকি কি ইংলিছটো পাপৰিবা লৈ আছে?
মানে মেম মেথছ আৰু ইঞ্জিনিয়াৰিং গ্ৰাফিক্স আৰু মানে ইংলিছ আৰু PPS কেমিষ্ট্ৰি এইকেইটা এক্সাম হ'ব ন মেম?
সব গোটেইকেইটাই চাবজেক্টে হ'ব, মেথছ, কেমিষ্ট্ৰি, PPS, ইঞ্জিনিয়াৰিং গ্ৰাফিক্স, ইংলিছ। এই
আচ্ছা,
পাঁচটাইতো
আচ্ছা।
চাবজেক্ট আছে তোমালোকৰ?
5টা সাবজেক্ট।
Okay, Okay, so today I'll start with new topic, which is array. Let me share my screen first. Can you see the screen? কালিখিনিয়ে দেখিব পাৰো। Okay, I hope everyone can see my screen. Everyone can see the screen, right? Yes, no? Yes, okay. So array, what is an array? Okay, all the time we were doing like we initialize one variable, right? We just, if you want to store any values, then you just initialize one variable, then you just store that value in that particular variable, right? Now think you want to store 4, 5 multiple variables, maybe 5 variables, maybe 6 values, values, 6 values, 7 values, up to 10 values you want to enter. Is it convenient to use 10 variables for 10 values? Means if you want your user to enter 5 values, for example, then you have to initialize 5 variables for each of the values, right? Right or wrong?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here comes the concept of your array. Okay. So array allows you to store multiple values in just single variable. Okay. It is also kind of a data structure that can store or organize your values in a linear fashion. Okay. So you can say C is a collection of similar type of data items stored in an like contiguous memory location. So you can say an array looks like a string. Okay. Just think about that reel. আগতে যে ফটো উঠাইছিলো ৰীল আছিলে ন ৰীলবোৰত নিগেটিভ যেতিয়া চাওঁ ব্লগ 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 দেখা পায় correct? If you guys remember the old time cameras, you can just think about that type of thing. Okay.
Yes.
So your array will look like something like this. So in each block, it's a storage for one value. If you want to store 5 values, you can just 5, 8, 10, 12, 15. Okay, that means you can take any number of input from the user and store in a single item, which is your array. Okay. So array is like your derived data type. Okay, it is your array is your derived data type. What is derived data type? What is the primary data type?
Zero, one.
Primary or primitive? Guess you have learned about the data types, right? So what are the basic data types? Data types, come on.
Ma'am, float.
Ma'am, long int.
Long comes 5 later. The first initial basic kita ki into baro correct hoy.
Ma'am, character.
Yes.
Character float.
Yes,
Yes.
for
Correct. So your primitive data types are your int, float, character, double. Those are your primitive data types. Okay. And array is your derived data types. Okay. So derived data type means what? You can just combine the primitive data types, then create a new data type, and which is your derived data types. Okay. So array is such an derived data type. Okay. So array will be beneficial for you if you want to store similar type of data. Okay. It just stores similar type of data. Okay. So just like your normal variables, here also you can define the type of array. Okay. Your array can be your integer type, double type, float type, anything. Okay. So since it is for the similar type of data, suppose you want to uh, store marks of students, or you want to store salary of employees. Okay. So all the values will be of similar type. Okay, to store that kind of similar data type, you can use array. Okay, then I said it is contiguous memory, right? Contiguous means what? See, the memory locations are like just clutched to each other. Okay, it's like a tail, one after one. It's stick to each other. So this type of memory is called your contiguous memory. Okay. So the advantage is that you can access the elements very easily in case of array. Okay. So if you want to access anything, any value from the array, you can just need to write the index. Okay. So what are the properties? Since I told you that array should be of same data type and carries the same size. Okay, if I initialize an array to be int, then the size will be also like 4 bytes. Okay, then the main advantage is that it is code optimization. So you can just write a few codes and access the data. Okay, if you just store the values in separate variables, then sometimes it is difficult to access those variables. Okay, you need to mention the name of the variable every time you want to access something if you have like multiple number of values. Okay, so with the help of array, you can just minimize the code. Okay, then second one is ease of traveling. So if you use a for loop here, you can very easily access or retrieve any elements from the array. Okay. Then similarly, another will be like normal one is of sorting. Okay. Suppose in certain programs you want to sort the value. Suppose you want to store the age of a family. Okay, you want to store the age of family. Then you want to sort the ages. Sorting means what? What do you understand when I told sorting? Sorting means
Arranging.
yes, correct. Sorting means arranging. Arranging means it can be either in ascending order or in a descending order. Okay, that is your sorting. So after array part, we will come to sorting part as well. Okay, there are lots of algorithms for sorting. So sorting is another, means you can use array for sorting. It's very helpful because you just do it in few lines of code just because it optimizes your code. Then fourth one is, the main one is like random access. So you can access any element randomly using the array. Now come to the part how we can declare an array, right? I'm telling you array can do this and that. It is not like your normal variable. You can store lots of values here. So how can you exactly declare an array?
Using square brackets.
Yes, that is true. So syntax will be like, you have to mention the data type. Then you have to write the array name. Just like variable, you have to also provide a name for your array. Okay. Then you will use the square bracket. Then you will specify the array size. Okay. This is the syntax to declare your array. Data type, array name, then array size. So simple can be like, if int I want to store marks, so you can just say marks 10. You need to mention the size. It can be 5, 10, anything up to you. Okay, this is an array of size 5. Is it clear? So the name of the array here is the mark. Data type is the int, and size of the array is 5. Okay, this is how you declare an array. Okay, now we need to store the values here. So there is another thing is initialization of array. Okay, so how we can initialize value for an array? Okay, there can be different ways to do that actually. So very simple way is that you can just type the name. For example, if you have already initialized it, you can just say mark 0 equal to 80. Okay, so as I told you, your array will look like this. You can access the values with the help of indices. Okay, that means index will start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so the size of this particular array is 7. Okay, here size is 7, but your index will start from 0. Okay, or indices will start from 0 to 6. Okay, this is very important. Okay, if I tell you you have to access the first element of the array, that means the first element will be this one. Okay, for example, this is your array of mark. Okay, so this mark 0, I said it's 80, so mark 0, 80 is this value. Okay, then if you want to store another value, you can just write mark 1 equal to 40 maybe. So this 40 will be stored here. Okay. So remember, if I'm telling you that you need to access the second item from an array, then your second item will be this one. That means mark 1. Okay. Don't get confused with the starting first, second and indexes. Okay. For array, indices will always start from 0. And the last element, if you want to access the last element, then it will be like, suppose you can say n minus 1. Okay. If size is 7, then n minus 1 is your mark 6, right? N minus 1 it will be 7 minus 1, 6. So whatever value will be here, maybe 50, that one will be accessed. Okay. Is it clear? Just see again.
Yes, ma'am.
So in very simplest way, this is the simplest way of initializing value to each of the memory location. Okay. So you can just use the index of the particular array and store the value. This is the initialization in one type. There are different types, the 3 main types. So this is the most simplest way. Okay. You can just mention the value here with the help of 0. If you initialize 0, 80, 140, next you can just initialize as mark 2 is equal to 10, mark 3 is equal to 5, and so on. Okay. This is the simplest way to initialize an array. Got it? So for this very small one, suppose I'm just taking size 5, okay? So simple program for this type of initialization will be what? Include stdio dot each, and main will be there. Then you have to initialize the index, okay? These values, this index, you have to mention a variable, right? How you are going to access these values. You can just say mark I. Okay, so I will represent the index values. Okay, so here you can say int I, which will be mainly for your index. Then you can initialize your array in mark 5. Okay, here you are just declaring it. Here just you are declaring that array, that you have initialized an array which is of int type and the size is 5. So later you can just put the values like this. Mark 0. You can just write anything here. Okay, mark 1 equal to 50. Mark 2 will be 40. Mark 3 will be maybe 20. Mark 4 will be maybe 16. Okay. So this is it. See, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 values are there. This is your initialization. Okay. Now you want to print this number. Okay, suppose you have entered all the values. Now you want to print the numbers. How you can do it? With the help of a for loop. So for I equal to 0, I is for your index or indices, then I will be less than 5, right? The size is 5, so index will go up to 4, right? So less than 4, then plus plus I, then just printed values. Printf, how you are going to, since it's an int type, identifier will be D, remain same, then you can put a new line here. It's up to you. You can also put tab, then also fine. Then you can say mark I. Okay. In this way, you can just display all the values. Okay. Display all the values in your array. Next. Turn 0. Okay. This one is the simplest way of declaring and initializing the array values. Just see once. Okay, this one is clear to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Now there is another way of declaring and initializing. So here what you are doing is that you are separately declaring an array and also separately initializing the values. Okay. You can do this 2 steps in 1 step as well. Okay. So then this will be your declaration with initialization. Okay. So how can you do that? Suppose the same thing in mark, right? In mark is your array. Size is 5, you have defined. Okay. At the same time, you can also define the values, maybe 80, 50, 40, 20, 60, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So instead of initializing and declaring the values one by one, you can directly use this line. Okay, int mark 5 and the values are this. Okay, this is one way. There's another way. You can also declare like this mark. No need to mention the size here. Keep it blank and you can just write 80, 50, 40, 20, 60. Okay, both are correct. Okay, if you do this, still it is acceptable because your compiler will know that size of the array is 5 because at the same time you have input these values. There are 5 values you have initialized, so obviously size of that particular array will be 5. Okay, if you do means declaration of array with the initialization, both way is possible. So in this case, there is no need to define the size, but even if you define the size, then it's fine. So both way it is acceptable. Okay, so same program you can also write like int. Obviously you will need the index values, then you can simply write int mark 5 equal to 80. 50, 50, 40, 20, and 60. I said both way is possible. So even if you don't write this 5, then also it's fine. Okay. So after that, you can just write for same line. Okay. I equal to 0, I less than 5, then plus plus I, then it's just same. So here, instead of doing it one by one, declaration separately, initialization separately, you can just do it together. So there will be less number of code. That means, again, as I said, you can optimize the code. Because see, if you simply do this, it is nothing but like you are just defining different variables and you are just giving one value to each of the places. Okay, so a good practice is like this one. You can just declare the values at the same time of initialization. But again, it depends on your application too. If you want users to input the value, then obviously you cannot use this one. Correct? In this case, I'm just giving all the numbers directly that this is the array and these are the values. Okay, now if you want users to input the value, obviously you cannot define like this. You have to simply declare the array first. Okay, then it will store the values whatever input user have provided. Is this clear? Just it's just same. Okay, is this part clear to everyone? Is this part clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Clear, Harsha, clear. Okay, so this is for your printing the values of array. Now, as I said, you can also take input from the user. That means you are going to store the values from the user and put into your array. Then the simple statement is just you can use the scanf. So just like your normal variable, to store the values, you can just use scanf %d and %mark I. Okay, it's just same. Okay, just you did for the variables, it's just same, just that type is different. Okay, now as I told you guys, you can just randomly access any element from an array. So if you want to even change the value of any array, you can do that too. Okay, suppose this is your array, and now if you want to write like mark2 is equal to 0. Okay, then which one will be the 0? It always start from the 0 index, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Mark2 0 means this value will be changed to 0. Okay, you can directly change the number. Okay, you can directly change the value like mark2 equal to 0, then automatically whatever value was there, like initially it is 40, it will be changed to 0. See, that's why I told you array is randomly accessed, means you can access and change any values at any time. You can just directly point out the location of that value with the help of your index. And if I say like mark 5 equal to 0, then what will happen? If I say mark 5 equal to 0, what will happen? there is no mark 5, right? Your array size is just 5 and your index goes from 0 to 4 only, and you are trying to access fifth element. So what will happen now? Okay, just try. You are trying to access number 10 value, but your array size is just 5, right? So in that case, what will happen? This element is not available. So any guess what will happen?
Out of bound, maybe.
Out of bound, that's correct. Will be out of bound. This case is kind of undefined behavior. You cannot just directly justify, okay? Sometimes it might give you an array for a particular compiler, but in some time you can also get a correct result. It might just return you the last value of your array. Even if it is, there is no 10, uh, um, no value in 10th location because your size is 5, it just might give you the last value, or it can also give you an error. It will depend on the compiler. So it is just undefined behavior. Okay, you cannot just expect any unexpected output. It can give you any output according to the compiler. So best practice is never do that. Okay, never try to access something which is not here. So another point to note is that the data type and the size of your array is always fixed. Whatever you have initialized, it will remain same for your entire program. So in the during the program, if you want to change it, if you want to put more values, then it is not possible. Okay, so a good practice is that if you want users to input the value, always keep the size bigger. Even if, forget this one, suppose you are just taking input from the user, better just initialize with like 10 or 100, something like. There is no problem if you just initialized a bigger array, but you are just storing less number of values. Not a problem at all. But the problem occurs when your size is limited and you are trying to put more values inside your array. Okay. So if you want to, I just want to show it. Right, this class is going to end in 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes. So array part is clear to everyone. We will see more examples in tomorrow's class, and we will also do the lab class. Okay. Is this part clear? How, what is an array? How we can declare it? How we can initialize it?
Check, ma'am. Understood.
Hmm?
Understood, ma'am.
Okay, if you have any confusion, just think about it. I'll share the videos when I upload, update the attendance. Just think about it. If you have any confusion, we can discuss it tomorrow. Okay, same array part we will discuss tomorrow also, and we will also do the lab part. Okay. So I am going to stop sharing, and please switch on your videos and I'll take attendance. My voice is not low, right? You guys could hear me, right?
Yeah, ma'am, your
Voice
voice is.
too low hole koba. 1 p.m. or class 9 because I took that same class now.
Lab class
1
লৈ ল'ব, ma'am.
1 p.m. or class 2 এতিয়া লৈছো, no? লেব ক্লাছ কাইলৈ আছে গতিকে কাইলৈ ল'ম everyone switch on your videos বাকিবোৰ কি হয় হে সবে নকৰা যে ভিডিঅ' অন Arnab, Narwen, Athersana, Dilbar,
Ma'am.
Vijal, Ladi. Oh, কোৱা
মেম আমি তো আমাৰ ভিডিঅ'টো সদায় অন কৰো আপুনিও এবাৰ অন কৰি দিয়ক
অন কৰিব লাগিব okay not a
Yes, ma'am.
problem actually কেতিয়াবা